Morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. It's the 30th day of January, the very end of the very first month of the bright and shiny, sparkly new year we're calling 2021, and it's still AD. Yesterday I mentioned that you should reach out and tell the people you care about that you care about them, because it could all be over just like that. And shortly after I put the video out, not that much time had passed when I got a message from a childhood friend of mine giving me the news that a childhood friend and high school classmate had passed away. And then there's been just a whole bunch of thinking going on since I got that news. Just a whole bunch of thinking about the fragility of life, how very little time we have on this planet with each other, and how all of a sudden the phrase "not COVID related causes" suddenly makes a difference. Because I've got three people that automatically spring to mind when you bring up COVID deaths, and two that are right behind that. And then after that, I've almost lost count of how many people I know that have passed away from COVID. And I don't want to count. I don't want to do the tally because it's just too much. But anyway, I posted about it yesterday, and I'd like to thank everybody for not jamming my comments on that post with the obligatory "sorry for your loss" post, because even though I know that those are heartfelt and sincere, I've been thinking about it, and I, as it may sound heartless, but I don't feel like I lost anything yesterday. I didn't lose anything, because I hadn't seen this friend since we graduated from high school, and that's been 40 years. There's been no memories made since then between us. But what I've been given after the news of his passing was all these memories flooding to my mind of times that I spent with this friend. For one, thinking one time drinking a whole bunch of ginger ale, and thinking that we got drunk somehow off ginger ale. And one that I mentioned yesterday in the post was a joke that I learned at a sleepover at his house. We must have been 9 or 10 years old. I don't know. It's been a long time. It's a joke where he introduced me to Gene Tracy truck driver jokes. And I've told this joke, I don't know how, thousands and thousands of times over the years. And I'm going to share it with you today. I've made a few changes to the joke because of sensitivities have changed over the years. So there's a couple of changes that I've made, and there's a couple of changes that I just won't. This is a story about a guy who comes home from the war to his parents' home in the mountains. And the way he tells the story goes just like this. Yeah, I come home from the war to my parents' home in the mountains. And I went running up to the house, and there's my mother on the porch. She was washing dishes. I ran up to her and I said, Ma, praise the Lord, I am home from the war. And Ma said, yeah, I can see that, son. You are home from the war. And I said, well, Ma, where's Pa? Well, she said, well, Pa's out back. He's chopping kindling. So I ran out back, and sure enough, there's my Pa. He was chopping kindling. I ran up to him, and I said, Pa, praise the Lord, I am home from the war. And Pa said, yeah, I can see that, son. You are indeed home from the war. And Pa said, what the heck did you do at the war, son? And I said, well, Pa, I killed me the enemy. And Pa said, how the heck did you do that, son? And I said, well, Pa, I shot some. I stabbed some. I even killed some with hand grenades. And Pa said, what the hell's a hand grenade? And I said, well, right here, Pa, got him right here. You pull this little pin, you count to 3, and you throw that puppy up in the air. So I did it. I pulled that little pin, I counted to 3, I threw that puppy up in the air, and it went up and up and up. And up, and up, and it came down, landed right on the outhouse. All of a sudden, kaboom! All you could see throughout the sky was shitting boards everywhere. It blocked out the sun. And it all came down in one big heap. About 10 seconds later, a little bald head stuck out of that pile, and it was Grandpa. Grandpa said, "Jesus Christ, I'm sure glad I didn't let that one in the house." Crowd goes wild. But that's the joke, and I've remembered it all these years because of a sleepover at a friend's house when I was 9 or 10 years old. So I guess today what I'd like to close with is going to be another little long one, but what I'd like to close with is we don't have forever to let people know how we care about them, that we care about them. And today I'm thinking about not only my friend that passed, but two other friends that are close to ending their life's journey right now as I speak. And I want them to know that I care about them too. So let people know, because all we have is this moment. It's all we've got. And I'm reminded of a quote from Kurt Vonnegut, one of my favorite authors, from one of my favorite books called Slaughterhouse-Five, where the main character, Billy Pilgrim, asks the question of some aliens. The question is, why me? And this is the answer. Why me? That is a very earthling question to ask, Mr. Pilgrim. Why you? Why us, for that matter? Why anything? Because this moment simply is. You ever seen bugs trapped in amber? Well, here we are, Mr. Pilgrim, trapped in the amber of this moment. There is no why. There's no why. There's nothing, you can't explain it all away. It simply is. And all we can do is try to make the best of it, and try to make memories, try to let people know that we care about them. And another quote before I go, because this is another Kurt Vonnegut quote. Introduction to Babies to Earth. Hello, babies. Welcome to Earth. It's hot in the summer and cold in the winter. It's round and wet and crowded. On the outside, babies, you got 100 years here. There's only one rule that I know of, babies. God damn it, you've got to be kind. Be kind to one another. Make the world a better place for all of us. Love one another, and let the people you love know that you love them. Peace, love.